Hey guys! So up until a couple of days ago, I was always one of those people who actually didn't mind going to school. You know, you see your friends, you see the teachers that you like, you learn stuff. I don't know. I recently moved quite a long way away from where I used to live for my entire life, so it's like new people, new area, new school, new opportunities to try and avoid social interaction. And my first day of school was just a joyful experience. That morning I woke up right when I was supposed to, and the birds were singing and the sunlight was— I wake up at 5 on the dot, like—
Oh, it's nice.
Waking up that early never happens to me. I will sleep for as long as I possibly can, and if no one ever bothered me, I would probably never get out of my bed. And I look at the clock and I go, oh great, it's 5, I still have an hour or so to sleep. That's great, I can go back to sleep, right? It didn't work. And the morning was the really typical, oh no, I'm gonna be late routine, you know. Ow. I ran outside, got into my friend's car, and we were off on a magical adventure called the first day of school. The only good thing is that I didn't really stress out about it too much. I basically planned on showing up like, guess who's here? Peasants. Everything seemed fine for a bit, and they herded us all into the auditorium for the beginning of the year assembly and such. I just sort of sat there, hoping that someone would come over and talk to me, even though I probably looked as uninviting as possible. I sat there for a while, sending frantic texts to all my friends, like, help me, etc. And all of a sudden I was like, huh, I can't feel my arm. I wonder why that is. And I thought about it for a second, and then I realized that I had literally stopped breathing. Like, is this even a thing? Can you become so uncomfortable that your brain just goes, oh, well, this situation isn't fun, so let's just die. And you just stop breathing? What? So the assembly happens, and this other new girl actually comes over and talks to me, and she's really nice and everything. And the teachers do the typical, tell us about yourself thing. And I'm starting to think, wow, this is actually pretty fun. These teachers seem nice. I'm glad I'm going to school here. And then lunch happened. Okay, go back to every stereotypical high school movie you've ever seen where there's a new kid and lunch is this huge deal. Combine all of those awkward experiences, multiply that by 10, and that's still not as awful as it was. Or at least that's how it felt. It probably wasn't as bad as I thought it was. But I was probably standing in the middle of the cafeteria for 10 minutes just going— I ended up sitting at a table with the girl I had talked to earlier, just sending a bunch of texts to my friends back home. But then I realized that there's only so many texts that you can send to one person without them responding before looking like a freak. So instead, I took to reading the comment sections on random YouTube videos. I could have done anything else. I could have played a game. I could have tried to read some terrible fan fiction. I could have gone on someone's blog. But no, I decided to read the comments instead. I just can't get over how pathetic and terribly lonely it was, and it nearly got to the point where I thought I regret moving, which if you know me, you know that that is something I will never ever admit after complaining about where I used to live for so long. So getting to that point was a pretty bad sign. The rest of the day was actually alright, even though people kept trying to ask me questions, and every time I answered I would either stutter or try to be funny, to which they would nod and laugh awkwardly and then avoid me for the rest of the hour. But then I met 2 other really nice people, and at the end of the day they herded us all outside to get ice cream for some reason, which pretty much consisted of us outside going—
So, do you watch any YouTubers?
By the way, this was my conversation starter for pretty much the entire day, so it was pretty awkward when someone would answer with no, and I would just go, instead of trying to find some other sort of common ground. Once I finally got home, the rest of the day was like— The second day was actually sort of better, but at the end of the day, no one told us where the buses were. So I was running around frantically asking people if they knew where my bus was, and absolutely no one had any idea. And by the time I actually figured it out, there was a huge group of us sprinting after the buses, which had slowly started to kind of move, and they saw us. They saw us sprinting for our lives after them, I swear. They saw us and they didn't stop. They didn't stop. Ugh. I I spent most of my summer being alone, and I totally forgot how tiring being around people is. At the beginning of the day, I tried to be really friendly and cheerful, but as the day went on and got worse, it pretty much just turned into, "Get out of my way, peasant. Don't you dare talk to me." But hopefully I'll get used to it and get over my total inability to talk to people enough to not absolutely despise school. Probably not gonna happen.